Welcome to the Multimedia Club cast podcast, and are you ready? Colin, you have got
I'm
to
still
start
here,
with
so
me.
I have to be.
Is that a question for us,
what's
or is that like
going on?
rhetorical?
Nope, it's a rhetorical question for the audience. And Colin didn't want to do it with me, so he just looked at me awkwardly. It was great.
I was like, oh, are we starting?
Yes,
Sorry.
yes, we are.
Hello, welcome.
Let's keep all of that in.
We are.
Yes, absolutely.
Can we please, though? That would be amazing.
Cold opening. Okay, so we've got special guests, Zach again, and Sadie
Yo.
for the first time.
I mean, can we count him as a special guest if he's already been on once?
He's
a
a
recurring guest.
less
I'm
special
practically a regular now. I don't know what you're talking about.
guest. Sadie,
It's true. He's been on for a good portion of them now.
Sadie's our special guest this episode, and Zach is our almost special guest this episode.
Yes.
I'm almost special. Not quite.
Yeah.
I have
Alright.
like 3/4 of a star sticker on the wall.
Yeah, but it's blue, not gold. So what do you do? You just wanted to dig into it then, so we can get on
here's-
to the main dish.
Here's the deal with today's episode. I'm gonna let you know right off the bat, so you can, so the listener can check out if they're not interested. Sadie is our resident musical theater expert, so we're going to have an entire
Indeed,
episode,
I am.
devoted to musical theater, and yeah. So first, we're gonna get our movies and music of the week out of the way right off the bat, and then just launch into like 3 hours of musical theater discussion.
Well, let me tell you right now, I don't know anything about musical theater, so I'm gonna actually check out here.
Okay, sounds good.
No, I'm kidding. But yeah, let's dig into it. So who wants to start?
For movies of the week.
Yes, movies
I don't
of the
know.
week.
Let's give it to our guests.
All right, Sadie, you're first up. Let's not give you any context. What's your favorite movie?
What's my favorite movie? I thought I just got to choose whatever movie I recently had watched.
Yeah.
Or do I
it's-
just get to
it's
pick
just-
something at random?
It's just you pick any movie, basically. Like any
Okay.
movie you feel like you want to talk about.
Okay. So I openly admit this is not a very good movie, but there is a
Good
film called The Strangers from 2008. And it is a horror movie starring Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman and 3 people I've never heard of. And it is okay, I don't like horror movies in general. And this is probably part of the reason why, just because when they get super realistic like this one does. Okay. One of my greatest fears is home invasion, and that is like this is a home invasion horror movie, The Strangers, and it is not very good, but it's also amazing because it terrified the crap out of me when I saw it for the first time when I was 11 years old, right after it had come out. And admittedly, I should not have been watching it when I was 11 years old. But what are you gonna
Right,
do?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Oh, that's it. I've
I can talk more about it. Do you want me to?
I've never seen The Strangers. I know about it, and it's kind of
It's really not very good, but like
it's like a guilty
I
pleasure.
only know of its reputation, and I've heard it's probably one of the worst horror movies ever made.
Really?
But
well,
I
don't watch
haven't
enough
seen it,
horror
so I
movies
can't
to
judge
be
it.
able to confirm or deny that. So I don't know.
Is it okay? I could be wrong about this. Is it from that guy that did the Death Note movie? Or am I mixing these up here?
I don't think so. Let me see. Give me just 1 second.
Okay.
No, doesn't
Okay.
look like it.
All right. So it's something else. Got it. I haven't heard a whole lot about it, but I'm aware of it. That's as far as I've gone.
Yeah, and there's a sequel coming out next year, next March,
Oh wow.
called The Strangers Prey at Night. Prey, like
Oh, boy.
Predator and Prey. And I'm just like,
So it came out
You're
2008.
really
So this is like a decade later.
you were
Doing
making a sequel to this movie a decade after the original one came out.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's gonna be just as good as The Incredibles 2 then, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be like the battle next year. Which is better, Incredibles
Yeah.
2 or Strangers?
But you know,
Prey
the
at
reason I
Night?
actually find this movie really interesting is that it is purportedly, supposedly, at least partially inspired by, okay, so I am not only the resident musical theater nerd of this group of people, I am also the resident true crime enthusiast, and this is actually, purportedly, this film is supposedly based on one of my pet cases.
Oh.
That, so yeah, that was, which was a quadruple homicide, but happened in rural northern California in the 80s.
Now, my question is Tom Selleck and Blue Bloods count as a true crimes?
I think those are crime procedurals.
Yeah.
All right. Is it close enough, though? Can I count, looking at Tom Selleck and his mustachioed face,
Josh,
true crimes?
I expect this to be your tone when we're talking about musical theater the whole way.
So, okay,
just
new
trying to
question.
relate,
If Tom
man.
Selleck is enough for it to count as true crime, then does that mean that Meet the Robinsons is a true crime film?
Absolutely.
Have you not seen Meet the Robinsons? Of course it is.
Do you see what
The
they did with that
Robinsons
dinosaur?
is a
That can't be
crime
legal.
unto itself. I love that movie, but it occupies a very interesting time in animated film history.
It does.
The time
No,
where
yeah.
Disney decided 2D animation wasn't working but couldn't actually 3D animate anything?
Yeah.
Exactly.
The
That's
not
perfect.
so golden age of Disney.
So now the question
Yeah.
is are we just shifting movie theater into true crime / Meet the Robinson talk?
Yes. When's the Meet the Robinson sequel coming out, by the way?
When Tom Selleck is off of Blue Bloods.
Okay. Let's petition to get Blue Bloods canceled. So
You know
we can get
what?
we can get the.
I like having the other Wahlberg and Tom Selleck.
the other Wahlberg. Good one.
Oh boy.
What's his name?
How
Donnie?
many Wahlbergs
Yes,
even are
Donnie.
there?
Donnie?
13?
Yeah.
There's Mark Wahlberg, there's Donnie Wahlberg, and there's the.
Wahlberg.
I don't know if there's more. I honestly don't know.
And then there's the burger joint, which I'm going to count as one of them.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I would.
Wahlburgers. Great name, by the way.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay,
Oh,
so you
goodness.
asked about Meet the Robinsons. There was supposed to be a sequel, but when John Lasseter took over Disney Animation, he canceled all of sequels in production. But now that John Lasseter is gone, maybe that'll
it's
happen again.
Always possible.
Who knows?
Yeah, I
Who
suppose.
knows?
All right. Well, let's jump to Wheels then. You got a movie for the week?
I do. I actually just watched this a few hours ago.
Oh, perfect.
It's called Wind River, directed.
Oh, right. I'm kind of
yeah.
interested in seeing that.
I said
It was
no
written and
because my
directed
chicken-
by Taylor Sheridan, who is the guy who wrote Sicario and wrote and directed Hell or High Water.
Okay.
And okay, I'm going to be completely honest here. I watched it in less than optimal conditions. I watched it with my mother and stepdad, who were talking and moving around and stuff during the movie. So there were times where I couldn't exactly pay attention, but I liked what I saw, and I need to watch this again.
Okay.
The movie itself, though, I will say, Taylor Sheridan. It's Taylor. I thought it was Tyler. It's Taylor Sheridan. He has a great eye for location scouting. I mean, obviously some of it could be a set, but I couldn't really tell.
Oh yeah, I want to say the trailer of that movie looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
There's,
Everything
literally
about the
some-
movie is just gorgeous. At least the scenery is gorgeous.
Yeah.
The costume design is there, but the scenery is
There's
great.
some amazing shots and cinematography in that movie, just of the landscapes
Mm.
of rural Wyoming and the reservation.
There's this one shot, which is a faraway wide shot of just snow, and then you see a tiny snowmobile going through the middle of it from right to left on the screen. It's probably one of the prettiest shots I've ever seen.
That sounds to me like something you'd see in Fargo.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, that
The,
sounds cool.
the movie uses snow and mountains to, give the movie a feeling of isolation, and it's also got a big isolation of Native Americans allegory going throughout it as well. It's
Yeah.
it's got a metaphor going through it, because at the end of the movie, this isn't a spoiler or anything. At the end of the movie, it is it's like a text prompt. There is no statistic for how many Native American women are missing,
Oh,
and
wow.
So
the government doesn't keep statistics on that. For every
Right.
other race and gender group they do, but not Native American women for whatever reason.
Wow.
So essentially, the movie is trying to go for a, women and especially Native American women feel just as isolated as you would in this cold, barren environment. And I thought it worked pretty well.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing it and hearing that you guys liked it so much. I will say though, this is completely my fault. In my mind, there's a negative connotation with that movie because it came out the same time as The Snowman, and like seeing both of those trailers in the theater.
Oh my god.
Seeing both those trailers in the theater right next to each other, oftentimes they just looked like the same movie. I mean, Wind River looked, beautiful, and I was like, this looks kind of decent, but The Snowman looks so stupid. And I just somehow I have this like association with those two movies, so
I need to see The Snowman because of the legendary reputation it's already gained.
yeah, apparently it's just the worst thing ever.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough. All right, Colin, you want to go next, or you want me to go?
Sure, I can go next. This I was sort of debating
Can you
this.
not do that?
I'm sorry. I was sort of debating this. We just watched Commando on Movie Club, and I had a couple other movies that I was thinking of, but after watching Commando, I gotta pick that. I just gotta. Commando is 1985, I want to say it came out, and it is the best Arnold Schwarzenegger movie on the planet. Seriously, this is the premier Arnold Schwarzenegger experience. Every shot of the movie is just Arnold Schwarzenegger just being an unstoppable killing machine. Like every moment is just he needs to get into a car and it's like he's too big to fit, so he rips the seat out,
So you're telling me my purchase of Commando a couple of years ago without seeing it and still not having seen it was a good purchase?
Yes, because you need to see it when we're done here. In fact, see it 2 times in a row like I did this weekend.
You know what? We have time after this. We could.
Sure, yeah. I want you to see it because it is the best Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Forget Predator, forget Terminator, forget The Escape Plan, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. Forget Twins, forget The Expendables. It's Commando. That's the best film that came out in the 80s, and I'm including Breakfast Club in that.
Ooh.
Oh wow.
Because did Breakfast Club have Arnold Schwarzenegger harpooning a guy with a big pipe?
I mean, it's pretty close. You have that one guy who was the jock that, pelvic thrusted and broke a window.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger harpooning the principal at the end of The Breakfast Club would be the perfect clincher to that movie.
Just like, where's those kids get off to? Oh, stick around.
That's Commando. That's the movie that line's from, I believe.
I'm sure it is.
Or is it?
Is that the Bennett one as well?
Yeah, it's the
All
Bennett one. It's all the good ones. It's like, remember when I promised to kill you last? I lied.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, good.
I got Irish there for some reason.
I lied.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Don't disturb my friend. He's dead tired.
That's that one?
Yeah, it's that from Commando too. It's a masterpiece. Anyway, Josh, what's your movie of the week?
My movie of the week is Better Off Dead.
Oh, not Better Off Ted?
Not Better Off Ted.
This Better Off Dead, I've never heard of that.
I know, and that's what really throws me off because you keep telling me that Better Off Ted is a good show on Netflix and whatnot.
It is
and
a
I
good
agree.
show.
It is pretty good.
But
Yeah.
I believe the joke comes from Better Off Dead, which also happens to be a movie that came out a while ago.
Yes.
And so
I've never heard of this movie.
Better Off Dead is a movie that came out in 1985, I do believe.
Oh, same year as Commando. Josh just gave me this look. I do not want to. Oh boy!
It kicks it off with John Cusack, and he's constantly trying to kill himself.
Oh, same.
So I mean, if there's any better reason to watch a movie, there you go. No, he's super sad all the time, and then it ends with this. The big climax is this skiing,
I'd like to see a movie where John Cusack skis as the climax.
Oh boy, it's good. It's really good.
Okay.
There's some really.
So let's recount the things you've said about this movie. 1985. John Cusack wants to kill himself skiing.
Yeah, you got it.
Sounds perfect.
I mean, that's about the entire movie right there.
That's how you pitch it, right?
Yeah.
All right.
It's an 80s movie where John Cusack wants to kill himself and ends up skiing.
Is that really your movie of the week?
Yes, actually.
Okay.
I am reading the Wikipedia plot summary right now, and that's basically the entire movie. He's right. My God.
Oh wow.
I wasn't joking.
How did you see this movie? Under what circumstances
we
did
have
you see
it.
this movie? Oh, do you?
I do. And I watched it when I was younger. My dad's like, oh, this movie's kind of good. It's in that era of Breakfast Club and whatnot. Not nearly as popular. But it kind of has like a Ferris Bueller's Day Off mixed with like the depression of the Breakfast Club mixed with professional skiing, but not.
Okay.
I love this bit on the Wikipedia.
It's a high school ski team. It's a high school ski team.
Oh,
I was on the ski team in high school. Nothing interesting happens on the ski team in high school.
Oh, it does in this movie though.
Honestly, like the ski team at my school, like it affected so little that I didn't even know we had a ski team until late my senior year.
The only reason I joined the ski team was because my parents didn't want me to do the musical because I can't sing.
Rough.
Wow.
Really?
They happened at the same time. Also, my parents were like, well, you know how to ski, so you might as well. It'll help you be a better skier. But I really think they wanted to keep me away from the music.
Well, that's not very nice.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So, was that all 4 movies of the week out of the way?
So that was, what was it? It was
The Strangers, that was me.
And then we had Wind
River.
Wind River.
That was
And
that.
then I always forget yours, Commando.
Commando.
And then we had The Better Off Dead.
Cool. That's a good selection of movies, I have to say.
Let's see, we got like a horror. We got a dramatic, a drama. We got yours, which is an action comedy, and then mine is a teenage comedy.
I don't know if I call Commando a comedy because I don't think it. I guess. I mean, it's so over the top that how can you not laugh at it?
Yeah. So I mean, that's a good wide variety.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give this week a good 7 out of 5.
Perfect. A perfect score. Actually, I think it's 5 out of 7.
Oh.
Do you even read it?
I'd give it 2/3 of a blue star.
All
right.
Just going to music, I suppose.
I suppose.
I suppose.
Song of the week. Do we want to do? Let's do reverse order from the movies of the week.
All right.
You're first, then.
All right. My song of the week this week is going to be all the songs I've said for the past weeks, but combined into one song. Played at the same time. They're all going. Give it a listen.
Give it a listen.
Colin, you got some work for you today.
I'm not doing that.
No, but my song of the week is, God, what is it? Front Bottoms, The Plan, also known, the subtitle for that would be Fuck Jobs.
Like Steve Jobs, or
yes, that song since I've been busy with finals, it's the only thing I've been listening to lately. So it has its place in being the song of the week for me. Give it a listen.
Until I learn that once you fuck the fire, all that's left to do is burn, baby, burn, baby, burn. I could feel myself falling from an aeroplane. I hear static when I close my eyes. I am
good song that. It's.
Let's move on. Yes, I agree. Good song. That's why it's song of the week. Thank you, Colin.
Oh, me now?
I suppose.
Okay.
This is great. I love everything about this.
I was stuck between 2 songs, and I'm not gonna say the one I didn't choose because I might pick it like next week or something. But there's a song that I've been listening to a lot this week, and it's super catchy and super good, and it seemed like a perfect pick for this week. And then I stumbled across this other song when I was browsing Spotify, and it's so weird, so abstract, so it's like this weird, like a dark this dark underdog. And I was like, there's no way I'm picking you. I'm going with this good song, but every time I listen to it, it's like, yes, pick me, that kind of thing.
So how you got me into Modest Mouse?
Yeah, basically. So I'm going with that one. I'm sorry, other song, but it's called Terrible Things by the band Brick and Mortar, or Brick Plus Mortar, I think. And give it a listen.
Sometimes I think of doing terrible things. I know I shouldn't think it, but I do anyway. Maybe I'm just crazy, like I got a disease. Feels like I died days ago, deep in my sleep. I'm doing terrible things.
And it's really hard to describe. There's some weird vocals. I think the guy's British. The hook is super infectious. It's been stuck in my head for days. It's just this really odd song. It's just, you have to listen to it, man. It's weird. That's all I have to say about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wheels, how about yourself?
My song is... Let me think about this. I haven't actually prepared one yet.
Hey, don't worry about it. I didn't either.
Do you want me to go when you come back to you?
No, my song of the week is Hardware Store by Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, perfect. We haven't had any Weird Al here.
Nope. It's a song that I personally love, that is infectious. It's a song that, when I listen to it, I have trouble not listening to it at least 3 times in a row.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not really based on anything. It's not like a parody song. It's just about a guy who's really, really excited about a hardware store showing up in his town.
That sounds incredible, and I don't actually think I've heard this one.
Is that his new album?
No, this is from Poodle Hat, I think. That's like 2 albums ago.
Okay.
Okay.
Because he just released a new one without any covers on it, didn't he?
Did he?
Did he? I'm not sure. I know that
I
he just
read
had
something about that.
I know he just had a best of release.
Maybe it was that. I'm not sure.
Didn't he sing a song in like Japanese on it or something?
He did not sing "I Think I'm Turning Japanese," Colin. That's somebody else.
No, he did though. He did a Japanese cover of, I think it's Jurassic Park.
Yeah, right.
Like,
it's so weird.
Not the Jurassic Park theme, but his song Jurassic Park.
Yeah, right.
I'd love to hear
a Japanese version of the Jurassic
theme.
Park theme wouldn't sound any different because it doesn't have any words.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
just
maybe they replaced the L's in all the instruments.
No.
Oh no! No! Let's not go there.
I play my cello.
Oh no! See, I didn't do that.
Yes, you did. Are you kidding me? You can't pass blame on this.
It was all Wheels.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm good.
Oh yeah. Listen to it.
Oh yeah, have a listen.
There. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, Sadie, your turn.
Okay. So I was also debating one or two because I figure if I'm on here to talk about musical theater, maybe I should pick a musical theater song. And I had one in mind, and then my song of the week is not the musical theater song. It is Zack and Sarah by Ben Folds, and I'm going to tell you why. So
Nice.
the Pandora Stations the Pandora account that we run at the store where I work, no matter what station you put on, it will always play Zach and Sarah by Ben Folds at some point. It does not matter if you put on any sort of genre. It will always play Zach and Sarah by Ben Folds. I do not know why. I like that song. I don't mind that it does that, but it will never cease to amuse me how when my manager puts on like her 90s hip hop, eventually it will morph into soft piano rock and then play Zach and Sarah by Ben Folds.
All right, well, let's give it a listen.
It's
Yeah.
give it a listen. I like it. It's a good song.
Voices from inside, the kind of voices she would soon learn to deny, because at home they got her smacked. La 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 la. Zach and Sarah. Zach and Sarah.
It's gonna turn out that where you work is haunted by the person that wrote that song.
By Zach and Sarah.
Yeah.
They just want recognition, you guys.
Yeah.
Honestly.
That's really super fascinating.
Pandora's algorithm is weird like that, though. Like,
Do you think
Pandora's
so?
algorithm
Yeah.
is so weird.
yeah, like if I listen to any station now, I always will get "Pinch Me" by the Bare Naked Ladies. Like no matter what.
Oh, it knows.
It knows.
It knows about you and the Bare Naked Ladies.
I don't understand.
It knows
It
about
just-
your love for the Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh boy. Yeah, no, I don't know how it managed, but it just knows if that comes on, I'm gonna be singing at full volume. It's unavoidable.
Well, it's like whenever Spotify. I mean, I do Spotify. I didn't do Pandora, but it's like if you look at Spotify Discover Weekly for me, there's going to be at least one emo song. There's going to be at least one math rock song, and there's been at least one hip hop song. Those three are like constants.
I kept getting ska for a while.
Ska? Yeah, actually that happened with me too, and then it kind of started to fade away.
Yeah, it's weird getting random ska music in your list of discovered weeklies.
Yeah.
I have a particular friend who has a radio in his car that picks up Pandora. It's a Bluetooth radio, and regardless of what we're listening to, there will always, without fail, be one Disney song before we get out of the car.
Wow.
Well, that's not bad.
That's pretty good, honestly.
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
What is it with Pandora? Always playing the good tunes. Like, no matter what. Like, even if it, like, constantly plays the wrong tunes at the wrong time, they're still good tunes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just knows what you like, I guess.
That's creepy. Anyway. So, is it time?
I
So-
think it might be time for you to check out for a little bit, Josh.
I mean,
Or,
I already ate my chicken sandwich. I
stay-
don't have anything else to do.
Stay engaged and learn something. And me also, I don't know a lot about musical theater, so let's kick this off.
Can I kick it off with my knowledge of musical theater?
Sure, go for it.
All right. I was gonna go and see what's that one where the guy he's like hates Scrooge. He hates what's that one called?
Christmas Story.
A Christmas
The Christmas Carol?
A Christmas
A
Carol.
Christmas Carol.
A
Yeah.
Christmas Story.
Carol.
A
A
Christmas
Christmas
Story
Carol.
is the one with the kid. Never
So,
mind.
a
Christmas
Christmas
Story is the one with the kid.
Yeah.
You guys realize that's a book and not a play, right? No,
It's
just
also a
kidding.
play. There's a play.
It is.
Yeah.
I've had to see it I've had to see different versions of it 3 times while I was in elementary school.
Now,
I
that's
am
what
sure
I'm
there
getting
are
to.
musical versions of A Christmas Carol.
Mm-hmm.
There's musical
like-
versions of
And I've seen all of them.
It's true.
As we're going to discuss today, there is musicals of
yeah.
everything.
I was going for school to a Christmas Carol musical play thing that was being put on somewhere, and then I got terribly ill, threw up everywhere, and couldn't go. That's my extent.
My extent of knowledge is what we've seen in Movie Club. When I joined Movie Club, I had very little interest in musicals, and Movie Club kind of showed me, musicals are pretty cool. But when it comes to things that aren't movies, I know very little. The only thing I know is that I do lights and sound for plays and musicals, but But these are like amateur productions. They're not like big productions or anything. So.
Oh, I suppose I've seen a few of those amateur productions.
Yeah. Right.
But nothing.
I've seen a handful of Broadway level productions. They're mostly in Boston, but I have seen Rock of Ages and Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. And those, well, Rock of Ages was a lot of fun. Phantom of the Opera is something that I'd recommend everybody experience at least once. But
Phantom of the Opera in the state it's in today would never make it on in 2017. Like,
oh no,
just plot and structure wise.
Mhm.
In 1988, it was great, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't
there
know
you go. There's
anything
my
about...
first unsolicited opinion.
Yeah. I don't know anything about Phantom of the Opera, to be honest. I don't think I've ever seen.
All you have to do is cast Gerard Butler as the Phantom, and it'll be a hit.
Wow. Yeah. Something weird happened with the audio just there, but cast Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said all you have to do is cast Gerard Butler as the Phantom again, and it'll be a hit.
Yeah. Well, that same goes with anything. I mean, if Gerard Butler is the
Gerard Butler.
lead in Meet the
He
Robinsons
can't
too.
sing.
Oh,
I think Gerard Butler is worse than Russell Crowe as far as people who were miscast in musicals go.
Yeah.
I'm
well,
not
Russell
sure. I'm
Crowe
not
can't
sure
sing.
I'd go.
Then again, I honestly didn't have a problem with Russell Crowe.
Okay, well, Russell.
Unpopular opinion. What?
Okay. The
Oh,
thing
this is
about
already chaos. Oh no.
The thing about that, though, is that at least Gerard Butler tries to imitate a musical theater style, whereas Russell Crowe just kind of gives up halfway through his first major in trying to imitate the musical theater style in Les. So,
Okay,
also, I prefer Les Mis over Phantom if we're talking, like, 80s mega musicals. So I was already predisposed to hate Russell Crowe as Javert. So,
hey,
I mean,
I'm one of those weird people who loves Rent still, so I'm not really one to talk.
Colin, I think they've gone too far. I'm not understanding any of this terminology.
Yeah.
Rent, you pay it, so you have a place to live.
Yeah, exactly.
it is also a musical from, what, the 80s or early 90s?
I think it was
a
written
dude
in
called
86
Jonathan
and
Larson.
it premiered in 1990.
Okay.
Rent was a
So,
musical
it was
about little
it's a
gay
music-
boys.
In AIDS. Everybody's
And
dying
AIDS.
of AIDS.
Yeah, everybody's.
Everyone's got
Seven-
AIDS.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah,
like
pretty much.
Sounds like an intense little thing you got going there.
Yeah.
And I am absolutely convinced that if the composer did not die suddenly the day before it premiered, it would not be as renowned as it is today. Jonathan Larson dying was the best thing that could have happened for
So
Rent.
it's like the Dark Knight effect.
Honestly, I agree. As a fan of Rent, I admit it's incredibly flawed, and if somebody related to it, let alone the creator, hadn't died, I don't think that people would have thought it was good.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
without that, like, I don't think that musicals would be as, I guess, more, like, mainstreamed as they are. When Rent came along, it changed musicals from, like, operatic ballads and stuff like that to something that felt a little bit more modern. And I feel like
Well, I
that
think,
was...
I think you can even find evidence of that in the past. Like, when you think of, like, operatic musicals, you think of, like, Rodgers and Hammerstein. That was, like, the 40s and the 50s. You can go to, like, as soon as you get to the 60s, you have things like Hair and Jesus Christ Superstar that are more...
Yeah, that's...
like Rocky
I hate to use, like, rock music as, like,
That's fair.
as, like, shorthand for that, but, I mean, the first real, like, rock operas were, like, Jesus Christ Superstar and Tommy, which didn't actually get a stage adaptation until a lot later, but you know what I mean.
I'm just going to stop talking, let her do her thing, because she knows a lot more.
Yeah. Tommy's really good.
Okay,
I've seen
Okay, I'm out. Muting my mic now. Bye, guys.
Okay, somebody has to explain to me Jesus Christ Superstar.
Jesus Christ Superstar is a rock musical adaptation of the Passion story from the Bible.
Yeah, it's
Really?
pretty
And it is-
fantastic, honestly.
Oh, that sounds
Mhm.
It's
awesome.
really good.
See,
It's one of
yeah.
my favorites.
I was
The
hoping
movie
it
is
was-
great.
Yeah.
I was
The
hoping
movie
it was
is the most
related.
70s thing I have ever seen. It is
Oh,
glorious.
absolutely. The hair, the
Mhm.
music, everything.
The
about
hair.
it. Yeah.
Carl Anderson's red bodysuit. It's like,
Oh boy, that sounds.
it's
Yeah, no,
amazing.
you should. Okay, so we're gonna have a double feature of Commando and Jesus Christ Superstar.
Oh boy.
God.
Commando Christ.
Yeah, Commando Christ. Oh boy.
Oh, I think it's gonna be a triple feature. Better off Commando Christ.
Yeah. That's the name of my new hit album.
Oh, good.
Actually, this is a really weird tangent, but I wanted to discuss this with specifically you, Sadie. So here's the thing. I'm somewhat of a fan of Hamilton, and
Okay.
as I understand, you are not. And
Nope.
I'm very open to hear what you dislike about it, because my like for it doesn't really go past it's catchy, and
Yeah,
it's kind of unique. So I wanted to see what your take on it is.
Yeah, gladly. I will gladly talk about that. Hamilton to me is something that is beautifully written and performed and looking that leaves me emotionally cold. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have any real emotional attachment to any of the characters. There are some very nice songs in it, but for every song I like, there are songs that for every song I like, there are at least 2 or 3 that I will skip every time I hear them. Every time I hear them on, like, I listen to a lot of satellite radio, and every single time a Hamilton song comes on the station, except for unless it's like maybe 1 or 2, I will skip it. I will change the station. And it's just, I feel like it is very important as an art piece. I just feel like I don't know anybody involved personally. I mean, of course I don't, but I get a very self-important vibe from people who have been involved in it in the past. Like, that's actually something I can talk a little bit about, if I may go off in a little tangent. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
Okay, so you guys are familiar with the Great Comet of 1812, right?
Yeah,
Or at least
it's
just
that
heard of it?
Russian one.
I know
Yes.
the premise
Yes, it is.
in the
a
opening
musical-
number.
It is like an electro-pop musical based on like a 70-page section of War and Peace. And it was on... Okay, so basically what happens is Josh Groban is one of the main characters. He made his Broadway debut originating one of the roles on Broadway. And his contract is up July. So they announce that a cast member of Hamilton, a former cast member of Hamilton, one of the I can't remember how to pronounce his name.
Lin-Manuel Miranda. Armando.
No, it's not Lin-Manuel Miranda. It's,
David Diggs.
No, not him either. Found it. Okay, his name is Oak Anadawan. He played Hercules Mulligan and James Madison. So
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
not one of the main stars. He was announced to be Josh Groban's replacement in the show. And so Josh Groban leaves the show in July. And then he begins playing the role. I think he was playing July to sometime in like mid-September. And after he was in the show for a couple of weeks, there was a huge drop-off after Josh Groban left, because he's like a name. And people were like, oh, they thought they could sell Oak on Hamilton, and people were just weren't coming to see it in the same, droves that they had been. And the show is very intricate, and the show is very expensive to run. So in order to keep the show running, they are going to bring in another name, and Mandy Patinkin is announced he's going to be making his great Broadway return, playing this role.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense in my mind.
Yeah, but the thing is, Mandy Patinkin is white, Oak is black. So there was some admittedly very awkward racial optics surrounding replacing your black actor with a white actor. But when that was not the intention at all. They were just trying to keep the show afloat financially.
Right.
And then it was just when he Okinawan had the option to put the rumors that he was being kicked out because he was black, which existed, to stop. He encouraged the firestorm on the internet. That is like, this is just.
Yeah, it's pretty dumb, honestly.
It's like, yeah, and then so he leaves when he leaves the show early. And then after he leaves, it comes out that he had been in fights with the director of the show, Rachel Chavkin, that he had not learned any of because there's a part where his character, he plays in the pit band. He plays the accordion in the band in the show. And he had not bothered to learn to play the accordion nor any of the other parts he had to play. And he had blamed all this and he had blamed his exit on that when it was probably just on them not seeing a market for a black lead actor on Broadway, which admittedly the racial diversity on Broadway is definitely an issue, but for this show that had completely colorblind casting, the lead actress in the show is a black woman, and had paid no attention when casting to the race of the characters and cast whoever was best. It was a very racially diverse cast in general. And the fact that I was really going with this, I promise. It's just, I feel like the original cast feels very self-important because they were all involved in creating this great, notable work of art, and that's great, but that doesn't mean that you get to treat people poorly because of it and say things that are blatantly not true. Right. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's just kind of more of me just hating what surrounds the show. But as for the show, I don't hate it. I don't wish it. I don't have any ill wishes for it. It's just not my thing. You know?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Fair enough.
You can trim that if you need to, for the record. Like,
I think it's fine. I mean,
okay.
It's I had no idea.
Because I know I kind of fizzled out towards the end there. It was like a big thing on the internet, this whole controversy around the great comet casting, and it was really unfortunate because the show, even though again it's not something I was a big fan of, I could definitely see its appeal and understand that there were people that felt very passionately about it, and it was really unfortunate to see it have to close because the 10th billed actor in Hamilton wasn't drawing in sales and then decided to throw a hissy fit on the internet. Like,
fair enough.
Yeah. That's I all I've known about Great Comet is none of that background stuff. I've just kind of like seen a couple musical numbers on it because of you and Roberto, and it seems okay. I mean,
again, it's one of those. It's not my thing, but if people like, tell them they're wrong. You know,
right?
Like, I don't think you're wrong because you like Hamilton, even though I don't.
Speaking of you and Roberto, there's a shifting opinion about Dear Evan Hansen, apparently, that I've seen.
Yeah, okay, so Dear Evan Hansen, it is flawed but great. And now the thing that I was ribbing, I was kind of like nicely ribbing Roberto on last night was that he used to think it was the greatest thing since sliced bread like a week ago, and now he's like, it is so great, you know. No, it is very deeply flawed, and I was like, dude, what is going on here?
Well, sometimes people just change their minds on things. I've done that before.
Yeah, no, I totally get where he's coming, because the music there, it's really great. Um, if you like this kind of modern pop rock musical theater score, which I know not everybody does, but I do, and I think it's really good. And then you've got the whole show just kind of sitting on the main character. Um, and I've been saying for quite a while that I think once Ben Platt, who originated the role and won a Tony for the role, once he leaves, the cracks in like the book, the actual script of the show, and not the music, is are gonna really show, because it's got there's definitely some contrivances in the script, and there's the ending is a total cop out. But I mean, so now that
Just
Ben
for
Platt has
sorry
left the
to
show, I feel
interrupt
like
you real quick.
people.
Just for the record, Josh is no longer here. He's left. His cat just peed all over him.
Oh,
Oh, that's not good.
So he's gone to deal with that. But yeah, no, continue.
Okay, okay. So, but yeah, no, I definitely know where he's coming from. I think that Dear Evan Hansen and its popularity has given like a place for, Broadway fans to kind of speak of, social anxiety and like mental health struggles in a way that there really hasn't been since Next to Normal closed, and that was almost 10 years ago. So I feel like every couple years cycle, having a show that kind of has that outlet for people is really good. So I respect it a lot for being that outlet in the current musical theater climate.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I
So I remember I came to you and I was like, I wanted to talk about this season and next, and now we've just kind of spent a while.
Well, we can
Me
talk
rambling.
about this season too. There's a couple things that I wanted to ask questions about, like
Oh yeah,
what's going
absolutely.
on
Go
with
ahead.
the SpongeBob musical. I'm so
Mhm.
curious about that.
The SpongeBob musical. It is getting. I mean, it hasn't opened yet, so I have no actual critics reviews. But it is like surprisingly good word of mouth during previews on the message boards that I read about Broadway. It's like I have not. Okay, disclaimer: I have not yet seen it. It's one of those
Right.
things where if I can get cheap tickets through TDF or something, I will see. But it's not something I am breaking down the doors of the box office to get tickets to.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's
it's
SpongeBob the musical. Like that's
did
so.
you guys? Yeah, did you guys see the They performed on
on the
the
Macy's Thanksgiving Day
on
Parade.
the Macy's. Yeah, did you So if you guys
I
haven't seen that, you should
I
probably check
didn't
it out.
see that. I will check that out.
That was a good performance,
It was
actually.
a good performance. I was actually really surprised, and I'm sure they did quite a bit to sell tickets because I'm sure I'm sure people have exactly your reaction, Colin, when they think of the sponge.
Yeah, because it's just
But
such a weird
The-
concept. I still
It
can't
is a
believe
weird-
it exists.
Now, my question is do they sing all the songs that you would want them to sing in a SpongeBob musical?
Like Goofy.
I
Okay.
think only Best
and
Day
Perfect
Ever.
Man.
My understanding of it, it's like yes, it's a jukebox musical, but they went to different artists. Each artist contributed a different song to. They did put a couple of songs from the show in the show, in the stage show.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is you have like let me find the list of the artists that contributed
Isn't it
to
like
the musical, because
Fallout? I wanna
it's
say
a
Fallout
crazy
Boy?
list.
No.
Insane.
There's Plain White Tees, David Bowie,
Oh my
T.I., Panic at the Disco, Cyndi Lauper, Flaming Lips, Sarah Bareilles, Lady
awesome.
Antebellum, They Might Be Giants, John Legend. It's like
Wow,
That's
that's
so
This is-
cool.
that is quite the
Yeah.
list.
okay, and they also
Is
there
Pink-
is a recording for anyone listening who's not heard. There is a recording of the Chicago premiere production that has all of these songs in it. I'm sure they've made some changes now that they've come to Broadway, but if anyone wants an idea of what the soundtrack sounds like, that's stuff that's available online to listen to the cast recording. So I'm wondering if they're going to do another cast recording now that they're on Broadway and replaced a couple of cast
Yeah, no,
From-
that's awesome.
From what I can gather, based on Wikipedia, David Bowie's song is actually an existing song that he had written in the 90s, I think it said.
Yeah.
Yep, 95, called No Control,
Okay.
that he just
gonna
changed the
ask
words
about
to.
Ah, got it. I was just gonna ask about that because clearly he's no longer with us. I was wondering
He's
if
no
he
longer with us, yeah.
worked on that before he died, or okay. So
He's been wanting to do a SpongeBob musical since the
since the 90s.
Since the
Since
90s.
before SpongeBob has existed.
And not counting the theme song, there's only one song in the musical that was on the show, Best Day Ever.
Best day ever.
So
yeah.
you're telling me they do
it was-
not
I
sing
didn't
Rip
realize it
Your
was
Pants?
Nope, and they don't sing Sweet Victory.
Loop-de-loop and pull. And
They don't
shoes
sing
are
the
looking
they don't sing the
cool.
song about the kitchen. This kitchen is not the same without you. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know that
I love that song.
it's kind of a bummer that that's not in there, but with all those other artists working on that sounds awesome.
Did you say Cyndi Lauper is involved?
Cyndi Lauper is
That's
involved.
so interesting.
She
to
also
me.
said Flaming Lips. and I'm
Flaming
like,
Lips.
Flaming Lips.
Although, from what I've heard about Cyndi Lauper, it's not hard to get her involved in things nowadays.
Right, yeah, sure. But it's just still the SpongeBob musical, interesting choice.
Yeah.
What I'd like to see out of this musical is it being like really legit, like heartwarming and touching.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that's a thing that SpongeBob. Well, I was gonna say SpongeBob's not known for that, but in a way it kind of is. The early episodes had a touching quality to them, sort of. I mean, they were silly, but you know. I'd like this
Hey,
I want a full on SpongeBob drama is what I'm saying.
In the Broadway version of the musical, it looks like Tom Kenny is playing the French narrator again.
Oh,
Nice.
that's awesome.
Oh, that's perfect.
Are they doing it like a pre-recorded thing? The way they have like God, what's his name? The way they have.
It was Trey Parker, right? Book of Mormon?
Yes, the way they have the way they have Trey Parker like pre-recorded doing the prologue of Book of Mormon
I really want to see Book of Mormon. I've heard
Book
so
of
many
Mormon
good things.
is so funny. Oh my god.
Book of Mormon is great, although I will say I saw it in Boston. I didn't see it with like an original Broadway cast or anything, and
I did not see with the original Broadway cast either.
and I
Funny
feel
enough,
like
I saw it with Ben Platt. He was Elder Cunningham,
oh cool.
which was really funny. Because at that point he was only really known for Pitch Perfect, and so I saw it in Easter Sunday 2014. I got the tickets for my birthday, which was in March, and I'm flipping through the playbill, and my brother leans over to me and was like, "Oh, Guy from Pitch Perfect is in this," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." I had not actually seen Pitch Perfect at that point in my life, but whatever.
I haven't seen Pitch Perfect since learning who Ben Platt is, so I had no idea that was him, but I think I can picture him now. The roommate, right? Or the love interest? Yeah.
He's the love interest's roommate. Who
Right,
who does the math.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's like a 19-year-old Ben Platt.
Cool.
I don't know any of these names.
Oh yeah.
I'm still stuck on Josh Groban, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other weird questions?
Well,
Oh,
it's
I
just
do.
that list of. Oh yeah, you go ahead.
Unrelated to SpongeBob, what's the general consensus on cats?
Well, I'm more of a
You will
dog
find
person.
it has very staunch defenders, but my understanding is that general consensus, it's not very good.
Fair enough.
It's
I
great.
don't know anything about
great
cats.
Me
It's
neither.
great to see on stage because with all the dancing and the technicals and stuff, but listening to the soundtrack, it's like it's not a good soundtrack.
Okay.
I've admittedly only seen Cats through a YouTube recording, and it was one of the craziest things I've ever seen, and not in a good way.
No, it is watching Cats is like a fever dream. It really is.
Fair enough.
This is kind of you, Sadie. You gave us a list of things currently running right now.
The list I gave you was confirmed productions that are coming this season and
okay.
next season.
Okay, all right.
Like the season that is currently happening. So some of them, yes, have premiered, and some of them are still in the pipeline.
Okay. There's a
Although some
there's
of them
a
are, doing their out of town tryouts right now. Like Frozen and Mean Girls are doing their out of town tryouts right now. But the band's visit is already open. SpongeBob is opening in like a week.
December
Once
4th.
on this island. Yeah, exactly. So next week, SpongeBob is opening next week. Once on this island is opening next week, and then some of the plays, especially. You know what's interesting about this season is that there are way more confirmed plays and play revivals than there are music. And when
yeah
you think of Broadway, you think of musicals. So I find that interesting.
right. Yeah. There's one thing that caught my eye on that list, and that's John Lithgow's got a show going.
Oh, I think it's like a one-man show kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's
that
awesome.
that looks really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
I like
of his,
John
so-
Lithgow a
yeah.
lot. I'm a big fan. So again, one of those things that if I can get cheap tickets to and I see it before I go back to school in like the middle of January, I will.
Yeah. Now there's two big ones that I wanted to talk about in there because I'm sure you two are probably pretty opinionated on both of them. Mean Girls and Frozen.
Okay.
Mm, Mean Girls I'm scared about, honestly.
Oh! Sorry, continue. I'll bring that up later.
Wow.
Oh, what? Sorry,
You just had such a eureka moment. What was it?
You guys must have cut out or something. I didn't know anyone was talking.
Oh, yeah.
I just said that Mean Girls scares me a little bit. Like, the musical, I'm afraid that it's not going to be anywhere near as good as the movie, and I love the movie.
I've never seen it.
What
Okay,
was
so-
your eureka moment there, Josh?
We'll get back to that in just a second.
Now I'm really okay. No, you can do it now. I am really
Yeah,
curious.
what's this eureka moment?
Because if you didn't hear him, he was just oh. He had this outburst.
Well, see, I was saying, we'll do it in a bit because I was going to look it up to make sure I knew what I was talking about, but now I'm just going to babble until I can find it.
Isn't that what
was
we're all here for?
I suppose.
Yeah.
Oh, Cat, get out of here. You're in trouble.
Cat, come here.
Freaking cat.
Yes, okay. So, Legally Blonde, that's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Really well in a musical? Yeah, that's a thing.
I've seen a musical.
Cool.
I was on a cruise and they had the showing of the musical Legally Blonde, and I saw it and I had an all right time.
Give us your review.
It was, go see it.
It was a 5 out of 7.
When you're stuck on a boat and the only other thing to do is eat, and you've done that 13 times that day, go see it.
Yeah.
It was something
And
that I
you're
watched an
underage,
official
so you
recording
can't
of on
get blackout drunk.
on VH1 once.
Yeah.
Yes, no, it's one of the rare musicals that actually had a pro shot released for public consumption.
Mhm.
Has anybody
Blonde.
seen the actual movie?
Which I
Legally
find very
Blonde?
interesting
I have.
because if
it's
you were
not
gonna,
very good.
Okay.
it's a guilty pleasure for me,
Yeah.
honestly.
I enjoyed
Mhm.
it.
And it's also one of the. It's also,
performance.
I believe, it is. I am 90-something% sure it is one of the first. It is the third credited appearance of one of my favorite Broadway leading men, Andy Carl. It is his third Broadway. So still very early in his career. I like him. He was the
Cool.
UPS guy in the original cast.
I enjoy.
Okay. I wasn't expecting us to talk about Legally Blonde, but okay.
I guess I've seen a musical, so
Cool.
how about that?
Okay, cool.
I've seen if you're talking seeing musicals live, I've seen Hairspray,
Oh,
and that's
Hairspray
about
was
it.
my first
you
Broadway
saw
show.
Hairspray? That's cool.
Yeah.
Was it good?
Yeah. No, I had a good time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
So I guess my next question would be before we jump.
I
back
still have a
into it.
massive Hairspray cup. It's like a liter. It's like
What?
It's like a huge cup, and it says Hairspray on it. Anyway, keep going.
Okay. What is your, as of right now, favorite musical?
Ever?
Yes.
Or like currently running?
Both.
I have a special place in my heart for Little Shop of Horrors. I'm just
Okay.
talking movie musicals, me, because I don't know.
Well, let's lead it to the professionals then. See what they say.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's like that would be like asking, "What is my favorite child?" That's
Yes.
like,
What is your favorite child, please?
Yes.
Who is my favorite
You
child?
have to kill the
Oh,
rest
no.
of them.
Probably Finn Wolfhard. I mean, who are we kidding?
You're right.
Honestly, though, yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
If we're talking about what musical would I have liked to go back in time and see live, because it has since closed,
Yeah.
I would like to see the original Broadway cast of Next to Normal. I would like to have seen Ben Vereen as Judas in Jesus Christ Superstar. I would like to have seen the original cast of Les Mis. I would also like to have seen this recent Broadway revival of Les Mis that I really was so close to being able to see, but I missed.
You
Because
missed.
the only professional production of Les Mis I've ever seen, my grandma took me to one in Florida, and Les Mis is like, if you put a gun to my head and made me choose my favorite musical, it'd probably be Les Mis.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Is that the one with Hugh Jackman?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hugh Jackman.
That's the
Russell
one that had a
Crowe,
movie with Hugh
Anne
Jackman and
Hathaway.
Russell Crowe and
Anne Hathaway.
Hathaway.
Now my question is,
The one that Anne Hathaway won an Oscar for shaving her head.
Yeah.
She did.
Cool.
She did indeed.
now the question is Hugh Jackman a good singer? Because I know he looks good in short shorts.
He's not bad.
Have
No,
we
he's
explained
she's
this
actually
joke?
We don't need
when
to.
he. It's just
Okay.
I would
Okay.
prefer not to have an explanation.
Me and Josh have a running joke.
Yeah,
that
I think
we're
I'm a
huge
little
fans.
scared.
We're huge fans of Hugh Jackman in cargo shorts
Yeah.
because of the movie Chappie. There's a scene where he's crouch walking through a grassy field wearing
In the
cargo shorts.
Australian outback.
Well, it's like New York. It's not the Australian
It's
outback.
the Australian outback in my
But
book.
we just have a joke about how he looks really nice in short shorts.
Crawling through a field.
What do we want me to say?
Now he just needs to sing. And...
But honestly, it's
Yeah.
just I think the thing with Les Mis is that he was very poorly suited to the role of Javert. He was very poor. Hugh Jackman is not a good Jean Valjean. He is great when he's got a role that like matches his voice. It's just that is not
like
one of,
Wolverine.
Right, exactly. He's a perfect Wolverine, but
yeah.
yeah.
I feel like Les Mis, the movie, was a great experiment that was mostly miscast.
Yes.
Fair enough.
You know, I think the thing about Les Mis is that the best people in the movie had done the show before.
Okay.
Like the girl who played Eponine had been in the 25th anniversary concert production of Les Mis. Aaron Tveit was a musical theater actor. Most of the smaller roles were played by people who had come direct from the West End production or from a Broadway production.
Yeah, that's cool.
Wasn't the thing about the
So-
Les Mis movie that it was like something like just 90% singing? It was more singing than it was dialogue. Wasn't that? The
Oh
thing
yeah, no,
about it?
Les Mis is the musical is basically completely sung.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing I remember hearing about Les Mis as the movie and the musical itself. It's
Yeah,
like
then
And
the
it was all recorded live.
Yes, that was what I was about to say. The interesting
in the
thing about Les
movie, it was all
Mis is
recorded
that
live.
everything was recorded live on set.
Oh, that's interesting.
That is cool. So nothing was ad libbed.
Or nothing was dubbed. Or well,
Nothing was dubbed.
nothing was dubbed. Yeah, or nothing was. Maybe something
And
was
you
ad
can and for every place where it really pays off, in my opinion, like in I Dreamed a Dream and all that, there are places like whenever Russell Crowe opens his mouth that it does not pay off.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, that's interesting.
It kind of makes me want to see it because that sounds interesting. The clips I've seen of Russell Crowe singing, it's a little, yeah. But I do kind of want to see it. It sounds
Russell
fascinating.
Crowe has a decent singing voice. He's just got like rock kind of sensibility and not like that classically trained musical theater kind of voice.
Yeah, right.
So it just comes off, and because Les Mis is so stylized, so musical theater stylized, it just sounds off. Even if he's hitting all the notes, because he is, it just sounds wrong.
Yeah, I see what you mean from the clips that I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah.
What I guess to get it back on track, didn't you say you had strong opinions on Frozen?
I do have strong opinions. Okay, that might have, okay. I'm not sure my opinion is exactly strong, but I feel like this kind of ties into like a broader issue that I've noticed within the past couple of seasons is that you get more touristy catered shows, like adaptations of other things. Like this season, I'm just gonna read off the confirmed musicals that are coming this season. The Band's Visit, which is based on a 2007 Israeli film or something like that. Escape to Margaritaville, which is a Jimmy Buffett jukebox musical. Frozen, Mean Girls, Prince of Broadway, which was a review, or was based around the shows that Harold Prince, who's a major theater director, had directed, and then SpongeBob. And those are the new musicals coming to Broadway. You've got Carousel, My Fair Lady, and Once on This Island as your revivals of the season. And then when you look to next season, you've got a Cher jukebox musical, you've got Pretty Woman, you've got King Kong.
King Kong looks super fascinating to me.
King Kong is like that puppet.
Yeah, the big animatronic thing.
That puppet is really cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It's great.
So,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you cut out or whatnot, but that was
yeah, I don't know what just happened.
Yeah, there was like 5 seconds of silence.
Well, it's the thing is our dialogue is stilted because we're trying not to interrupt each other, I think.
And so we get
Yeah,
awkward
that's true.
pauses.
Yeah.
But yeah.
For the record, because of when it keeps going out, I apologize if I end up talking over anybody. I'm not doing it on purpose, I swear.
Oh yeah, no, we know, we know.
Nobody's
that for sure.
getting mad at anybody.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a delay, so it's understandable if people are talking at the same time. But yeah, no problems.
But yeah, no. Back to Frozen. It's is it how similar to the movie do you suppose it'll be?
Hopefully not
Okay,
very.
so it's actually having its okay, it says my voice is weird. Can you guys still hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. We sometimes you like have little like half-second things where you cut out, but it's not like terrible
Okay,
so far.
okay,
Yeah.
but you
I'm hearing
okay.
you. Occasionally you'll go robotic, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
fine. It's fine.
Okay, Frozen is actually having its out of town tryout right now in Denver. So I've actually heard a lot of reports and I've seen some, bootleg footage of it. There are places where it's expanded, but other than that, it's pretty much a one-to-one adaptation. And the interesting thing about it is that Let It Go is the Act 1 closure, but in the movie has a 3-act structure, and Let It Go is the closer of Act 1 in a 3-act structure in the film. So they have to really, really pad out the first act to make it Let It Go the halfway point. So you get because that leaves 2/3 of the movie. Like she doesn't, like Anna doesn't meet Kristoff, Olaf, and all that. That stuff all happens in the second half of the movie. And 2/3 of the movie, that all happened much earlier on in the film, which wouldn't make any. So basically, the vibe I'm getting is that it progresses pretty much how it does, and then and then Elsa runs off. You don't see her for like 40 minutes, and then she shows up and sings "Let It Go," which I'm not sure how that plays, but I'm sure it does not play all that well.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
And that would be really weird.
I like the idea of like normal things just happening, and then this lady just runs on stage and she's just like, "Let it go," and I'm just like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Throwing snowballs at the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like snow just gets dumped on the first 2 rows,
Yeah.
It's the snow zone.
But I mean, this show is gonna do, this could be people. This theater YouTuber that I like, he said, I'm paraphrasing him. He said something like, you could do like Rocky Horror style shadow puppeting the movie on a Broadway stage, and that would be crazy successful and run for years. the problem is not selling Frozen. It's like if you compare something like Aladdin to something like Lion King. Like Julie Taymor took The Lion King in a completely different and complementary but different direction from Lion King the movie, whereas Aladdin is another pretty much one-to-one adaptation. What kind of, because he went to Denver and he saw it, so he's speaking from experience. And this seems like it's trying to do both, and it'd be better just picking one direction. It'd at least feel more consistent.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right.
I personally prefer the complementary, approach.
Yeah,
If I want to see the movie, I'm going to watch the movie. I'm not going to pay huge prices to go to Broadway to just be able to see the movie played live by people.
Yeah, right.
I agree.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
I like trying to make
something I've heard about Frozen. There's a weird conspiracy theory that I've seen in a couple of places. I don't know where. I can't remember where, so I can't actually prove this. But trust me,
I'm intrigued.
I've heard that there are a few moments where the special effects for Frozen's preview aren't spectacular, and so I've heard that there are some things that Disney is saving for when the show officially opens, because it's Disney and they know that they're going to officially open.
Yeah, I've heard that too, and the theater it's moving into, the St. James, is actually undergoing major renovations right now, so they could definitely be doing the more suggested Ice Palace for the premiere in Denver, and then once it makes it to Broadway in the spring, they'll have this Ice Palace rise up out of the bottom of the stage.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think that's the speculation right now, that they're doing that to lift the Ice Palace out of this bottom of the stage and have that be the big epic conclusion to let it.
That could be really neat, yeah.
So
it's I as somebody who has worked on plays quite frequently, I really like talk about professional Broadway special effects, because the biggest special effect I've ever been a part of is when I did Blithe Spirit, and we put this motor behind the wall of the set, and it knocked a picture off the wall when the seance gets crazy and the ghost comes out. That's the biggest special effect I've ever done. And you're talking about ice castles rising out of the floor.
Out of the floor.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
yeah.
Well, as if you have the money and you have the time, you can do almost anything.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
honestly.
really, really amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
Phantom of the Opera literally starts with the front of the theater looking incredibly decrepit and run down, and then it rebuilds itself.
Yeah, no, they lift the chandelier off the stage over the audience again, as we go back in time to when the Opera House was in its heyday.
That's
really
crazy.
cool.
It's really cool, and it's something that they attempted to replicate in the movie and did a very. So, if anyone ever gets to see, if you have the choice of seeing one show on Broadway, go with Phantom of the Opera just for the experience of it, just because of how much it influenced musical theater.
It's a spectacle.
It's something that really has to be seen at least once in your life.
All right. Yeah, right. What are we looking at for time here, Josh?
We've been running for well over an hour. I believe, cool. Or about an hour.
Yeah, no, we can keep going to 2 hours if necessary. So, anything else we need to talk about?
I want to do a quick sidestep into a different world, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure. Go
ahead. I just finished reading From Hell by Alan Moore and Eddie Campbell. It's a graphic novel that is based all about the Jack the Ripper stories. And there is a movie rendition of the comic.
Is that the one with Johnny Depp?
It's the one with Johnny Depp and Ian Holmes. And yeah, it's supposed to be god-awful, and I'm really excited to watch it.
Nice, yeah.
You sound like a masochist. You enjoy watching
When it comes to
things.
comic books, Josh is a masochist. Let's
comic books, video games.
Comic book movies,
I mean, okay, so I'm looking at the reception section of the Wikipedia page, and I don't see god awful. It has a 57% Rotten.
All right. That's
Like-
that's okay for Rotten Tomatoes. I mean,
Yeah, it's
57% means
and it's got a-
57% of critics gave it a positive rating. So
Yeah, and then the average rating was 5.7 out of 10. And it
I
has
mean-
a 66% from audiences with like 3.5 out.
Yeah, but these are coming from audiences who don't know anything about Jack the Ripper or the comic that it is entirely based off
because
of.
I had no idea From Hell was based off a comic.
It is.
Like, so yeah, the average audience wouldn't. You know.
Yeah. So as an average audience going and seeing that, they're like, oh, this was kind of neat about Jack the Ripper. But then when it's comparing to the book, a really well-written book, it's not going to be good, and that's what I'm excited about.
You're just excited for it to be bad.
Then
It's like a Justice League scenario.
Kind of, yeah. and I'm excited to see, Bilbo being Jack the Ripper. So
Yeah, Bilbo
should be
Baggins.
fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, he did go berserk in that one scene, so
It's
he's
true.
suitable for the role.
I
Yeah.
think that's going to be scarier than this entire movie, though.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that scene in Lord of the Rings. No
It's
matter how many
terrifying.
times. Oh, shout out to Roberto, by the way.
Yes. Oh my God, Roberto, I'm so excited to hear what you have to say about Lord of the Rings when you
Yeah.
finish watching them.
That scene in Lord of the Rings where he goes evil for a second. No matter how many times I see it, it always catches me by
Oh,
surprise.
it's
it always
terrifying.
freaks me out.
Speaking of Roberto, give me one moment and I will pull this up. We have
An email?
an email, not from him though.
Really?
Oh
Really?
boy.
If I can interrupt really quick,
Oh,
Yeah, go.
I searched From Hell just to research about it, and I found a German short film called Selfie from Hell,
oh,
and I want that to be a full movie now. Like, I don't even know what
Oh
it's
my
about,
God.
but I love the name.
Is it like those videos you see online where
God.
people are like taking Snapchat selfies and it detects the dog face like behind them where there's nobody?
Mhm.
It's all creepy like that.
sure.
It's a whole movie that's just like that.
Oh goodness. But yeah, no, we got an email.
Cool. What's it?
Ooh.
Alejandro.
Hey Ron.
Alejandro.
It says, I'm sending an email, so ... Josh needs to play Doki Doki Literature Club, Colin needs to finish it, and y'all need to have a spoiler discussion. Now listen here.
That's a good idea,
But,
and I have finished it now.
but,
Okay.
I have finals coming up, so I will not be able to even touch it until about December 15th.
But that's so far away. That's like 2 weeks.
I understand. So there will be a whole 2 podcasts before we can even get around to talking about that with our spoiler discussion, which we do
And
now.
look, that means we have 2 spoiler episodes to do because we still haven't talked about Mother, which we were going
Oh
to.
God, has that even come out on DVD?
I don't
yet?
think so.
So then we're
when
okay.
We're okay for now, but
We got a
we're
little bit of
also
time.
going to do that.
But yes, no, I do want to play Doki Doki Literature Club. I plan on getting to it as soon as I get time, which right now I have hardly any of that. I plan on downloading it and playing through it.
It's about 4 hours, seems to be the general consensus. It took all of us about roughly 4 hours to complete it. So
Sounds good.
Potentially longer, depending on if you want to mess around with the files, but not much longer. Maybe 4.5.
You know what? I actually did hear something about the files. Like that's
it's like
Very
it's
strange.
like Undertale, but it gets under your skin even more. It's really crazy.
fair enough.
You will never forget about this game, trust me.
Absolutely not. I'm still having trouble getting over it.
But my point is okay, yeah, we can do that. Yes? You want
Yes,
to do that?
absolutely.
Alright.
Sure.
Maybe not a full episode, but we can launch into a
Oh,
spoiler
yeah,
discussion.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so,
Yeah.
so it's a plan, but not yet.
Yeah.
So hold your horse. Or horses, if you have more than one.
Yeah. Actually, while we're on this tangent of non-musical stuff, do we have anything else to talk about for musicals? Because I'd be fine getting back into that, but I just wanted to talk about one movie real quick.
Mhm.
It's called Thief.
Oh my goodness, what is going on,
Thief.
dogs?
The dogs are freaking out. In movie club, we just watched a movie called Thief. The first showing, I couldn't make it because my internet was being really bad. Tanner, don't shake. You're ruining everything, Tanner. That's right. You know what you've done. Okay, so we watched Thief, and honestly, I love it.
Is that the one that the video games are based off of?
No, I don't think so. It
Okay.
doesn't have anything to do with. It's the one that Drive is practically based off of.
I like Drive.
It shares a lot of similarities with Drive. I'm sure Drive is very heavily inspired by Thief.
Cool.
But Thief came out in the 80s. And
James Caan,
Willie Nelson.
Interesting.
Jim Belushi.
Oh,
yeah.
fun.
I was expecting it to be this cheesy romp with that cast, and it's incredible. It's a real slow burn. It's very slow paced, but it's not nearly as boring as I was thinking it would be. It's like, it's hard to explain. The pace of it just kind of like pulls you in rather than like bores you. I don't know. I don't have a lot of really detailed things to say about it. It's more like, go see it because it's just one of the better crime movies I've ever seen, I think.
All right. Cool.
It's very, very, very good.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything. So, yeah. Back to musicals, or...
Unless there's anything else you guys wanted to mention. I mean...
No, that's pretty
I have
much it.
I have opinions on everything.
Yeah.
But...
That was a little detour. Anything you want to say about Mean Girls?
I would like to clarify my one earlier very long story about the Great Comet casting thing.
Yeah.
May I go ahead and do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my issue, I just feel like I need to repeat this. My issue is not with Hamilton as a show. I feel like the success and popularity of Hamilton as a show, it's led to kind of this. No, not even that. It's I feel like just because you were part of Hamilton and just it being successful does not mean that you get to come in and refuse to do any of the preparation work you've been asked, and act like the show is trying to force you out when it's making decisions about its financial future, and you had not treated any of the cast with any sort of respect and thought you were entitled to this role.
So just don't be a
because
pretentious
you're not.
man-child.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Absolutely, yeah,
And I am very, even though I was not a fan of The Great Comet, I am very sad that that's what ended up happening to it. It was brought down by lies and rumors that were spread by a vindictive man, and it's very unfortunate that a show that could have had a very long and successful life and was something so radically different to what has really been on Broadway and had such success in the past, it's sad. And I don't and I don't draw a connection to Hamilton. It's just it's because he was in Hamilton, it's very hard for me to kind of separate those two out completely in my mind.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. It's kind of like me and the Snowman and Wind River.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really is, like, even if you are even if you are somewhat famous, it doesn't give you a right to act like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's pretty upsetting.
So I just wanted to clarify that. So if this actually ends up making the rounds in musical theater fandom, probably won't, but whatever. Just so my
Thanks.
intentions with making that statement were clear, so I don't get like death threats or anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna post this to the musical theater subreddit. Honestly, it wouldn't be a bad idea, but probably
Yeah,
not
just-
yet.
Yeah, I just really don't want the fans on me. You know what I mean?
I
Yeah,
mean, no matter
But
what
hey,
you do,
it's
no matter
but
what
it's
you...
up to you.
Oh boy, I love just talking over people on accident. It's fun.
No,
Yeah.
oh, I feel like I'm talking over you. I'm sorry.
It's just back and forth. It's unavoidable. But no matter what you do, you're always going to catch a little flack. It's impossible unless you're qualifying every statement with "it's just my opinion," but and then people are still going to hate on you because you have opinions. So it's unavoidable.
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, as far as musical theater stuff goes, I've never had anything to talk about. How about you?
Let's see. Do I have any opinions about musical theater?
I want to see the Sweeney Todd. I want to see that. I want to see Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
I want to see. I just want to see things.
I want to say there's a musical that I'm really into currently. Anything Goes. Cole Porter, I believe, wrote it. And I just did a production of it, a amateur production, but really cool, actually. Really funny. Lots of really catchy songs. I think it was made in like the 30s.
What was that? What was that musical that Chris was talking about when we had him on with Clint Eastwood?
Paint Your Wagon.
Paint Your Wagon.
Your wagon.
Do you know anything about Paint Your Wagon?
Not very much. I mean, I gave the Wikipedia page like a cursory after it came up on the podcast, but I was not familiar with it before that.
Yeah, I was, because as a kid, I had a favorite book. It was called Fiasco, and basically it looked at 4, I want to say, different movies that were not necessarily critical failures, but they were nightmares to produce, and Paint Your Wagon was one of them. Cleopatra with Elizabeth Taylor was another. I forget the other 2, but it was just reading
my
about
God,
movies
okay, no,
that
I
like,
remember
everything went wrong, basically.
Yeah, I know. I remember this now because the guys who wrote Paint Your Wagon are the same guys who wrote My Fair Lady and Brigadoon and Camelot. No, I remember this now.
Okay, that's interesting.
Paint Your Wagon is a 27% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh
Ooh.
boy.
Chris, I think you've made a wrong decision in your life.
But no, apparently it was a nightmare to produce. A lot of the stars were like alcoholics and hard to wrangle. Yeah, and it just sucked. Production of that just sucked.
Fair enough. Yeah. Let's see. What are other
One of the reviews is Christopher Null, and he says the movie is about as fun as painting a wagon.
Hey, I've had some
That's
great
savage.
times painting wagons.
It's true. That's like that Simpsons gag.
Yeah.
where-
You
and they
want to
just-
paint my wagon?
Yeah. It's just really literal. They just paint his wagon.
Yep.
Oh boy. The Simpsons is really funny.
Is there a Simpsons musical?
I don't think so.
Well,
There
look
should
what
be.
we're going to be putting on.
Yeah, absolutely. The 4 of us.
Yeah,
I'll play Bart.
I want to play Maggie.
Okay.
And
You want to play Maggie
There's
And the dog.
and the dog. Okay. You play the new.
there's multiple
Simpsons
Simpsons musical episodes, apparently.
That doesn't surprise me. I
No.
think Matt Groening likes musicals.
And there's also that Simpsons porn parody that
Ooh.
haunts my dreams. Nightmares, I mean.
I
Totally
That's the next episode. That's not this episode. We'll talk about that next
yeah,
week.
absolutely. I'm not.
The Simpsons
familiar-
one isn't as scary as the Pokemon one because
or
just
the
that
SpongeBob one.
Pikachu thing is. Ugh.
Like I said, next week.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
boy.
let's see other musicals. Oh, I really want to go see one of my favorites, movie wise, Rocky Horror Picture Show. I really want to see that, but I'm always scared because I've heard stories.
See it like a live midnight showing.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
because everybody like acts it out.
Yeah. Well, and I think I would, because I've heard things about people who go and see it for the first time and they usually get picked out of the crowd and they have to do things.
Yeah.
And I'm typically not a person who likes doing things.
Yeah, me neither. My dad said he saw it in like the 80s.
So
he saw a midnight showing of it in like the 80s, and it was nuts.
So now the question
I mean,
is...
just think about the 80s. The 80s are just like this decade, just with more cocaine.
That's true. Now, if I do find time and a showing that I think would work, would you like to go with me, Colin?
Absolutely. I would do that for
We
sure.
can be made fun of and get condoms full of milk thrown at us.
Yeah, it sounds like a fun time.
Sounds like a time.
Yeah, no. That's absolutely something I'd like to do at some point in my life. See
Yeah, I think that could be fun.
midnight showing of Rocky Horror.
Did you ever see Little Shop of Horrors with the guy in my grade?
Which guy in your grade?
Matt.
Zag it!
I'm gonna edit that
Yeah,
out.
see, that's why I didn't say a last name.
Okay, can you read me off the timestamp?
No, there is no timestamp.
Okay, well...
It's good.
Okay, I'll just have to find it.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, no, him... no, I don't think so.
Okay. He played Seymour, the plant, and I never got to see it, but apparently...
Seymour is not the name
Yeah,
of the plant.
the plant is Audrey too.
The
Yeah.
plant is
Oh.
Audrey too.
That's right.
Seymour
no,
is
he's-
like
he's
the dude, is the
that's
main character.
right. Okay. The reason why I thought his name was Seymour is because the entire time, all I can remember from it is that he's like, Seymour! And I'm just like, hey!
Miss Seymour.
Because he's talking to him, that's why.
Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense.
I'm gonna stop!
He's not saying feed me, comma, Seymour, I'm Seymour.
Yeah. Feed me, Seymour.
Feed me, I'm Seymour.
Yep.
Yeah, but no, he played the plant. That's not named Seymour.
Yeah, the plant is not named Seymour.
The plant is Audrey too.
What
He
happened to
names it
Audrey
after
1?
Audrey, like the
because
female main character.
Seymour's love
Oh,
interest
cool.
is Audrey, and he loves
Yeah.
Audrey so much he names the plant Audrey too.
That's weird.
It
Yes.
is weird. It's a really weird musical.
It is a weird
I've never
show.
even seen the movie.
Have you not?
No.
The Frank Oz one?
Nope.
It's great. It's a classic.
All right.
Have you seen you haven't seen the Roger Corman one either? I think the original was Roger Corman. I could be wrong
Nope.
about that.
Dude, there's so many musicals that I haven't seen. Like, I've never seen the Johnny Depp, Sweeney Todd.
That's good.
I've never seen Little Shop of Horrors. I've named some musicals. I haven't seen them.
Well, you've seen La La Land.
Nope.
You didn't see La La Land?
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought I saw La La Land with you. Or
Yeah.
Okay. You've seen La La Land. You've seen Rocky Horror Picture Show,
Yes,
and that's it.
I think so.
Alright.
And Legally Blonde as a live performance,
cool.
but not the movie.
Yeah. You should see Cabaret.
Mm.
You should see. I don't know why I said you should see again because I don't have a second one. You should just see Cabaret.
Just Cabaret?
Yeah.
You should
Nothing
see
else?
Cabaret.
Yeah.
You should see Cabaret.
It's very good.
Alright.
Liza Minnelli before she got fat.
Oh.
Damn it, now I have Wilkeman stuck in my head again.
Bienvenue, welcome.
Well, you know what? I can
Welcome
officially say... I mean, I've seen
and-
Frozen.
That
Hmm?
close enough.
Close enough?
Same thing.
Same thing.
Cabaret, Frozen.
Yeah. They're musicals.
Yeah.
They both have Nazis, right?
Right. Sure.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
The Sound of Music, is that a musical?
Is what a musical?
The Sound of Music. I
Mhm.
don't.
Yeah.
The King and I. I've seen The King and I.
Cool.
Just thought of another
I
one.
did. Sorry, I get excited. As soon as I can relate, I get excited.
Yeah.
Have you seen Grease?
I have seen Grease.
That's one I haven't seen. So you have
You
one over
haven't
on
seen
me.
Grease?
No,
You
I
got-
haven't.
haven't
I
seen
thought, I
Grease?
thought everyone has seen Grease.
Come on, Grease lightning, you're burning up the clever. How have you not seen Grease?
Like I said, before I joined Movie Club, I had no interest in musicals. So if we haven't seen it on Movie Club, I probably haven't seen it.
Grease lightning, go Grease lightning. How have you not seen Grease?
I don't know. Have you seen The Outsiders?
Yeah.
It's not a musical, but
No.
I don't know why it just reminded me of it because the Greasers. Oh, there should be an Outsiders musical.
It
That'd be
probably
pretty
has
good.
been.
I'm trying to imagine the outsider music.
Gosh.
Oh.
Stay gold, pony boy.
Oh.
Josh is having
It'd be
a heart
like-
attack.
Oh.
Oh,
Stop. Please
What's
leave.
What's going
is
on?
everyone okay?
He's being attacked. He's being attacked by a dog right now. Oh no. Sorry. Yeah, no. Josh is fine.
So
Oh.
I just found that. I shared a link.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh, let's check it out.
Outsiders the musical?
It's a Quotev story.
That's interesting.
Oh my god.
Greaser
Parody
Rhapsody.
of Queen's popular.
It is a
hit
parody
Bohemian
of
Rhapsody.
It's a parody of.
Greaser? What? Yeah, that haircut. Greaser?
Johnny, oh, didn't mean to kill that so. Shh.
Oh,
Oh boy.
And then the next one
stabbed his back.
is a parody, and then the next song is
What is this?
Best girl ever.
Stabbed his
Best
back
girl
with a
ever.
blade.
Stay gold, pony boy. Oh boy, that's interesting.
Cherry Valance is a spy. Two people are missing from
I
the
searched for the
gang.
Outsiders musical because it sounded like something that actually existed. It's not, but I found that and it was just weird enough that I had to show
That's
you.
so weird.
Oh
Yeah,
my
You should
God.
definitely post that in the group chat though. As
Yeah,
it's-
put-
You should.
yeah, just put that on Discord with no context.
Honestly, if someone else doesn't do it, I will.
Yeah.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah,
Oh
do
my
it.
god.
Is my cat meowing down there? What are you doing?
I think so.
Oh my god! Stop! Stop licking my feet!
I'm sorry, I'll stop.
Colin.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Jeez, yeah.
The animals have had enough.
Absolutely.
And I believe we have another important guest coming home quite soon. So we
Yeah.
gotta wrap this up.
Same as last time, but we actually had a pretty full episode this time. Is there any last things that either of you want to discuss before we wrap this up?
I do not think so. I think
Okay.
I said everything I wanted to say.
Cool.
I-
I'm sure you can talk to us on Discord if you think of anything else. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to publicly
I don't think
shame
so.
Colin again for not seeing Grease.
I'm sorry.
Because please tell me you've at least heard some of the
Caterpie
soundtrack,
just
right?
says no.
Oh boy.
No, she says
Okay.
Mo.
No, God, please no. Oh, that's great.
There it is.
Oh boy.
Oh.
So Colin, we're gonna go listen to some Grease Lightning, watch some Commando.
Yeah.
Better Off Dead.
Are you serious? Do you seriously want to watch Commando? Because I will do that. with
Yeah.
you. Okay. I saw it twice.
Commando the musical.
Yeah.
Commando
Oh
the
my
musical.
god.
That would be amazing. Are you kidding me?
It would.
Wow.
I'd love to see
My
an 80s action
friend.
movie on stage, honestly.
Dead
Oh my
tired. Oh boy.
Any kind of musical with Arnold Schwarzenegger is pure gold.
I mean, have you seen Kindergarten Cop?
I have not. I own a copy of it, but I have
It's a
not.
musical.
Okay.
It's not.
Put the cookie down.
It's
No.
Oh, the tuba.
It's not.
The cookie thing is a different movie. Jingle All the Way. That movie,
It's
What, I love it?
Him and Phil Hartman.
because I watched it all the time as a kid.
Yeah.
Who is your daddy?
And
what does he do?
I feel the same way about Kazam. Kazam is terrible, but I love it because
Oh, Kazam. What a movie.
Oh,
What was that noise?
I have no,
Oh, no.
clue.
Well, everything's fallen apart. Well, are we about ready to call it an episode?
I guess.
Sure.
I think.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know what just happened. Weird things with audio, but we'll figure that out later.
All right.
This has been Multimedia Club Cast. We have had a great time with our wonderful guests. Wheels, also known as Zach. Zach, also
Hello.
known as Wheels. And Sadie, also known as Fashionable Deathwish, or known as
Thank you.
Sadie.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it
had a
was.
good time.
It was a pleasure having both of you.
I learned that I have seen more musicals than I thought I did.
Yes.
Cool.
And I know about Josh Groban, so how about that?
Perfect. I would just like to
Right.
point out that you and I are both wearing beanies and headphones, but we have very different approaches doing it.
Why do you put your beanie over the headphones? You're gonna stretch it out.
I don't know. Josh puts his beanie on and then the headphones over it, but I put my beanie over the headphones.
You're just gonna stretch out that beanie.
These beanies are $5 a piece, and I have 4 of them.
Oh my god, Cat, stop.
Who wore it better? Send us an email and tell us.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll tell
absolutely.
you.
Who wore it better? We should take a
not
picture
us.
of the both of us and put it on Discord and say
Not-
who wore it better.
Not us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is a fun episode. Signing off.
I guess.
See ya.
Where's the stop there?